On behalf of the Window and Door Manufacturers Association, I want to welcome you to the Specifier's Guide on Door Face Veneers. I'm Communications and Operations Associate Stephen Kendrick, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to this webinar. As a specifier, details make a big difference. But with thousands of details in each job, how can you know that your plan will work out? When it comes to architectural doors, the terminology can be confusing to even seasoned specifiers. Many of the most difficult questions come in selecting the veneer. There's the matching method to specify: book matched, random matched, or slip matched. What's the difference between them? Then there's cut to consider: quarter cut, rotary cut, or plain sliced veneer. Finally, there's the wood color to select: red, white, or natural. What color is natural? And what effect do these have on sustainability issues? That's why the National Architectural Door Council of the Window and Door Manufacturers Association developed this course and brochure. It's designed as a primer on veneer matching methods, cutting options, and color selection. After completion of this course, you will be able to understand the color and grain variation found within single grades of wood species veneer. You'll understand how cutting can change the appearance of a wood veneer. We'll teach you how to describe how individual veneer pieces are matched within a door face. You will learn how door faces are laid up to achieve symmetrical or non-symmetrical appearance. We'll detail how to specify various wood veneers for wood flush doors in order to achieve a desired look. And finally, you'll know how to veneer cut, match, and grade specification affects the use of certified wood and overall wood yield. This course will begin with a presentation on the color and grain variation before moving on to veneer cutting and matching. We will also cover door face layup, veneer grades, and environmental issues. The conclusion will include a briefing on national characteristics you should know and a veneer specification checklist. After the presentation, you will receive information on how to access the online quiz. One credit for this webinar has been approved by both AIA and DHI. You will receive your certificate of completion by email in approximately 2 to 3 business weeks. For questions, please contact us at 202-367-1157 or email wdma@wdma.com. Now, I'd like to turn you over to WDMA Vice President of Technical Services, Jeff Lewinsky, for the webinar course.
You are specifying architectural wood flush doors for your latest project. Appearance is the primary consideration. After all, the reason you chose a wood door in the first place was because of its beauty, wasn't it? Next is sustainability. You choose to use a wood door because it is made from bio-based renewable resources. But how can you be sure that you get exactly what you're looking for in terms of color, grain, and quality? The selection of proper veneer not only depends on species, but a number of other considerations as well. Each species has its own distinctive characteristics, and within each species, no two trees offer exactly the same color, pattern, or grain. A thorough knowledge of veneers, how they are cut, and how they are matched can ensure that you get what you want and ensure the right choice for the environment. For example, in the natural grades of some wood species, particularly ash, birch, and maple, both heartwood and sapwood make up the veneer. The color contrast between heartwood and sapwood in these species produces marked differences in the finished veneer. Although the examples shown here are birch, the effect is equally apparent in ash and maple veneers. This course on appearance, grades, and associated terminology of the more common hardwood veneers used in architectural wood flush doors will enable you to choose door and face veneers with confidence. The way a log is cut in relation to the annual growth rings determines the appearance of the veneer. The benefit in selecting the veneer cutting method is in the way each method accents the natural variations of texture, grain, figure, and color of the wood. Ultimately, the door face reflects the natural variations in grain inherent in the species and cut. A rotary cut veneer follows the log's annual growth rings, thus providing a general bold, random appearance. A plane slice, also called flat cut veneer, is sliced parallel to the center of the log. Cathedrals and straight grain patterns are the result. Individual pieces of veneer are kept in the order in which they are sliced, resulting in a natural grain progression when assembled. Quarter cutting produces a highly parallel series of grain stripes. These stripes vary in width from species to species and from tree to tree, but in general create the most uniform appearance amongst the three most common veneer cutting methods. Rift cutting is used generally only on red and white oak to produce the narrowest straight-grained appearance with minimal ray flake. Because rift cutting yields the least veneer per log, it is generally the most expensive slicing method. Not only the veneer cut, but also the way the individual veneer leaves are matched and assembled into a door face affect the appearance of the door. Two types of matches are normally specified for door veneer faces: book matched or slip matched. Book match is the most common in the industry. In this method, every other piece of veneer is turned over so that adjacent pieces are opened like pages in a book. The veneer joints match and create a mirrored image pattern at the joint line. This method yields a maximum continuity of grain. Book matching is used with rotary, plane sliced, and quarter cut veneers. However, it is important to note that because the tight and loose faces alternating in adjacent pieces of veneer, they may accept stain differently, yielding a noticeable color variation. This so-called barber pulling may be minimized by sanding and finishing techniques. Slip match involves placing adjoining pieces of veneer in sequence without turning over every other piece. The grain figure repeats, but joints won't show mirrored effect. Slip matching is often used in quarter cut veneers to eliminate barber pole effects. It may, however, cause a sloping appearance of the veneer, especially in taller doors. Random, pleasing, and plank match are not commonly used for doors, but for some species these matches can create an attractive, more rustic appearance. Random match, or mismatched, is a face containing specially selected veneer pieces of varying widths from multiple logs with dissimilar color and grain. This produces a random board-like appearance. Pleasing match is a face containing veneer pieces from one or more logs, which provide a pleasing overall appearance. The grain of the various pieces need not be matched at the joints. However, sharp color contrast at the joints of the pieces are not permitted. Since veneers are matched by color similarity and not necessarily grain, an effect between book, slip, and random match is achieved. Plank match is similar to random match, but the veneer leaves are assembled in a specific sequence and are often of uniform width and sometimes grooved at the joint, similar to lumber planking. Now that we've talked about the match between veneer pieces, there are also three types of layup that are normally specified for door veneer faces: running, balanced, and center. Note there is no matching arrangement associated with random, pleasing, or plank match. Layup affects the appearance of the door and affects the yield, since excess veneer must be trimmed to the edge of the door to create the match. Balance match produces a symmetrical appearance. Each face has veneer pieces of uniform width, but may result in a door face containing either an even or odd number of pieces, depending upon the width of the door and the width of the pieces. Because the veneer pieces are of uniform width, the joints are evenly spaced, but are not necessarily centered on the door. Final panel trimming may further reduce the width of the outer two veneer pieces. This balance match produces a symmetrical appearance. Each face has veneer pieces of uniform width, but may result in a door face containing either an odd or even number of pieces, depending upon the width of the door and the width of the pieces. Because veneer pieces are of uniform width, the joints are evenly spaced, but are not necessarily centered on the door. Final panel trimming may reduce the width of the outside two veneer pieces. This match reduces yield, and therefore is more expensive than running match. Center match creates the most symmetrical appearance on a door. Each face uses veneer pieces of uniform width, just like balance match. However, center match is created by aligning a veneer joint at the center of the panel, producing an even number of veneer pieces on the door face. As with balance match, final panel trimming may reduce the width of the outside two veneer pieces. This match has the least yield, and therefore it is more expensive than balance match. Veneer grading, most simply, is the position along the scale of all the natural and other wood characteristics that appear in a veneer face. For any wood species, the higher the grade, the fewer or the less noticeable the characteristics. And although some species may permit more or fewer characteristics within a grade than the same grade in another species. It is also important to remember that because grading defines an acceptable range of a number of different characteristics, there is no absolute dividing line between where one grade ends and another starts. As a result, the overall appearance of a door at the bottom end of one grade may be less aesthetically pleasing than a door at the top end of a lesser grade. The door industry uses the standards of the Hardwood, Plywood, and Veneer Association to grade wood door faces for each of the more common wood species. Premium grade hardwood doors require AA grade faces. Custom grade hardwood doors require A grade faces. AA grade, however, is not available for softwood species, so industry standards require premium grade softwood doors to use A grade faces, but permit B or sometimes C grades for custom doors. Another important grade consideration is yield. Our wood resources are pressured for use, and it is increasingly important that we manage this usage as efficiently as possible. The typical rotary cut hardwood log produces only 2% of AA grade quality and only 10% of A grade quality veneer. The yield is even less for logs that are plain, quarter, or rift cut. The remainder of the log goes to lesser grades or other uses. Specifiers who automatically choose premium grade doors and AA grade material without considering custom grades may be doing themselves and the environment a disservice. By considering a lower grade, you may get a significant value and conserve environmental resources on a door that will perform just as well. Choosing and using renewable, sustainable wood veneer is an easy, convenient way to tackle climate change through the environmental advantages of wood. Wood is not only a sustainable resource, but it actually stores, the technical term is sequesters, carbon. Growing trees absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and store the carbon so efficiently that about half the dry weight of tree is carbon. This carbon remains locked up in the wood even when we use it for building products, such as doors. Forest certification is a voluntary process, with about 10% of the world's forest under at least one certification program. Customers that choose to buy certified products are supporting land managers, landowners, and forest product companies that have made a commitment to meeting the standards of forest certification. Typically, a forest of 1,000 trees, there are only about 50 that can provide veneer to meet HPVA AA grade quality standards. Once selected, these valuable premium veneer trees are carefully extracted without forest clear cutting and using methods to minimize damage to the surrounding environments, Removing these large trees then allows sunlight and space for younger trees, nurturing forest growth for future generations. Wood veneer is an excellent means for stretching certified wood even farther. But remember, the choice of wood species, veneer cut, and grade all affect yield, which also affects the availability and cost. For some species, certified wood veneer is almost impossible to obtain in the higher grades due to competition for other wood uses, such as furniture and cabinetry. Certified wood veneer is lesser grades, is more plentiful, and therefore less costly, with higher log yield and therefore greater sustainability impact. All trees have an outer light-colored sapwood portion that is physiologically active. It carries water and nutrients and performs the respiration and digestive functions for the tree. They also have a dark inner-colored heartwood portion that is physiologically dead. Heartwood holds the tannins, oils, resins, gums, and other byproducts of the tree's existence, which give it its darker color. The transition between this area is easy to see, but is never round. Thus, there is a portion of the log where both sapwood and heartwood are visible when the veneer is cut. This area is referred to as natural. Don't be confused that natural is somehow related to sustainability. Natural indicates that the face veneer may contain both heartwood and sapwood in unrestricted amounts. Thus, natural faces may vary from all light to all dark, or any combination of light and dark. Also, the resulting grain configuration from book-matched, flame-sliced, natural veneer pieces may appear as alternating strips of light and dark veneer. If you prefer a light-colored wood, specify all sapwood. If you want dark-colored wood, specify all heartwood. The next two slides show the kinds of characteristics that appear on the more common veneer species used for wood doors. One or more of these characteristics will appear to the extent permitted by the HPVA standards in nearly every door face. As a reminder, these are only examples. Variation within face grades is the beauty of real wood, and you should work with your door manufacturer if a tightened variability within a given door shipment is required. This chart shows a few of the most commonly specified door veneer species by cut and color, and their approximate relative cost differences as compared to rotary cut natural birch. This does not include grade differences. It is easy to see how your selection of species, cut, and color can affect the price of the final product. Putting all this information together and selecting the appropriate door species and grade will provide you with a door that is both pleasing and economical. And although the choices may seem overwhelming, ANSI WDMA IS1A includes a specification checklist, providing a concise reference to help make sure all key specification and product identification requirements are addressed. The checklist also identifies which individual options have been established by the standard as default, simplifying and guiding the product selection process. The WDMA industry standards for architectural wood flush doors and architectural stile and rail doors are a major overhaul and rewrite of the existing well-known industry interior architectural door standards. Relying on the hardwood door face veneer criteria of the HPVA ANSI standard, the revised WDMA standards are fully synchronized with each other for both content and organization, wherever possible. Wood flush door guide specifications vary, but there are certain aspects that must be addressed to ensure that the doors meet the minimum requirements of the specifier and building owner, and that sufficient information is provided to door manufacturers to ensure that the correct doors are furnished. WDMA architectural door standards include comprehensive descriptions of the selections most commonly available and include a specification checklist, providing a concise reference to help make sure all key specification and product identification requirements are addressed. Copies of the ANSI WDMA IS1A and IS6A standards can be obtained from the WDMA online bookstore. Thank you for taking the time to download and listen to this webinar on veneer specifications for wood flush doors. I hope that you found it informative. This slide shows you how to access the WDMA website to take the test to obtain your AIA or DHI certificate.